Today is March 10th, 2021, and today's card of the day is Stealth Strike. Stealth Strike is a 3-cost Justice event from the Black Widow hero pack. It's one of few attacks available in the Justice aspect, and really does what this aspect lacks, which is key: dealing damage to progress your win condition. Anytime you can get something that is the weakness of your aspect included in the aspect itself, it's really powerful. Combo cards that do two things are really strong. Things that deal damage and remove threat, or prevent damage and deal damage, like Energy Barrier. And Stealth Strike is no exception. It's a really powerful card that can be super versatile depending on what scenario you're playing against and what hero you're using and what other cards you include in your deck. So next, let's look through some of those combo cards that you might want to include or think about if you want to run Stealth Strike. First, we have Defender of the Nine Realms from Thor's kit. One of the weaknesses of Stealth Strike is to get that removal of 2 threat, you have to deal 4 damage to an enemy, and the enemy has to be defeated by this attack. So you really need to guarantee you're going to have enemies with low health like minions. So Thor can play Defender of the Nine Realms, find an enemy for you, draw 2 cards. You can even use those cards to pay for Stealth Strike, ultimately getting rid of the enemy and removing 5 threat instead of just 3 from Defender of the Nine Realms. Another cool card this synergizes well with is Wasp herself. Wasp in tiny form has an ability that when she defeats a side scheme or an enemy, even with an event, she gets to ping the villain for 1 damage. So with Stealth Strike, you could defeat an enemy and potentially defeat a side scheme, triggering her ability twice from just 1 card. Note this card does have a mental resource, so cards like Black Cat might throw this into your hand. Black Cat can also weaken up minions that might have a lot of health so that you're able to defeat them with Stealth Strike. Spider-Man himself has Spider Tracers that you're going to want to play on enemies, so it's a little bit swingy, pun intended, but if you can get an enemy out with Spider Tracer and kill it with Stealth Strike, you're going to have a really big board stabilizing turn. Finally, in the Justice aspect itself, we have Interrogation Room. This is a card that when your hero defeats an enemy, you're able to exhaust it to remove a threat from a scheme, so it can just add 1 to that threat removal sort of from Stealth Strike. Some common rules mistakes with Stealth Strike: it ignores Confused because it's not a thwart activity, but it is blocked by Stunned. So you have to pay attention to that little word in parentheses. If it's an attack or a thwart, that's going to tell you what status card can block the use of this card. The threat remove does not ignore crisis icons. Crisis icons don't only block thwarting, they block removal of threat. The enemy must be defeated by Stealth Strike and not some other trigger that happens after you attack. So you're going to have to defeat the enemy with the 4 damage or 6 with Miss Marvel from this event. And it can be used to finish off villain first stages or second stages in Expert. When you defeat that first villain the first time, that is considered a defeat of an enemy, and then a new enemy replaces it. So cool way to use Stealth Strike to stabilize the board when defeating a villain, when they often get a big boost anyway. That's it for today's card of the day. Let me know what you think about Stealth Strike and unique ways you use it in the comments below.